The irony that an innovative comedic duo such as Tenacious D have cancelled themselves with an incredibly poorly thought out, very unimaginative and incredibly badly timed piece of comedy, if we can indeed call it that. At a show on the 14th of July, Kyle Gass, whose birthday it was on the day, was brought out a cake by bandmate Jack Black. And when asked to make a wish, well,
Happy birthday to you. Make a wish, Canada. Don't miss Trump next time.
you can hear in the crowd there's quite a lot of laughter here, and I think this is the underlying problem with this whole situation and why this whole situation has probably occurred in the first place. Now, both Gass and indeed Jack Black have been outwardly spoken about their anti-Trump sentiment in the past. However, Jack Black seems to have been smart enough to keep the political side of his persona out of his stage shows and out of his music. In fact, Tenacious D, to much of an extent, is the antithesis of political discourse. We are bombarded day in, day out with political discourse. We are fed different polarising political opinions in the mainstream media and on social media, forcing us to pick a side, to increase segregation across the US and here in the UK. Tenacious D were an antithesis to this. They brought people together under the umbrella of comedy and of music, and as a distraction from the mundane and quite often polarising day-to-day monotony of politics and indeed of real life. However, in this instance, Gass flippantly and possibly without thinking made a joke which was very poorly timed. You can hear the response from the crowd. Lots and lots of laughter. Now, it's fairly safe to say that a lot of that laughter is going to be awkward laughter, people who aren't quite sure what the protocol is, how to react to such a joke in light of the events a couple of days previous. However, a lot of that laughter, I believe, wasn't awkward laughter. In fact, it was almost pre-programmed laughter. Ever since Trump started his political campaign many moons ago, the Orange Man Bad motif, the meme, has almost outweighed anything he's done as a president. He became a fair game target. He became effectively a laughingstock for the liberal left and the Democrats to point and laugh at. Donald Trump was fair game in the mainstream media. He was fair game on all the late night shows. Donald Trump was used as a punchline to a joke more than that's what she said. So it comes as no surprise that when a joke is made about Donald Trump, the instilled natural reaction in so much of the American public is simply to laugh. We are taught that there's a setup to a joke, the punchline is Donald Trump, and we all go, ha ha ha, yes, Orange Man Bad, isn't that funny? In fact, in Jack Black's own words, he was blindsided by this joke because purely the incredibly poor timing of it. And it could be here where the left start to sort of unravel. And I think it's important that we talk about Jack Black. I believe in a world of terribly phony, forced Twitter apologies, he has come out and actually made a decent one. He has very, very quickly distanced himself from this comment, despite his political opinions being known at large. He's distanced himself from the comment, saying that it was unacceptable. He didn't condone or encourage any political violence. He has cancelled the rest of the Tenacious D tour, as well as saying that all other creative plans with Gass have now been put on hold. This is quite a sacrifice to Jack Black. Going to be more of a sacrifice, I believe, for Gass, although I don't believe he's actually struggling financially. However, Jack obviously having more commercial interests, obviously having his acting and all the rest of it, probably doesn't need the money as much. But it's still quite a sacrifice on his part, purely to distance himself from this joke. And we can only assume that it was a joke. However, I was always told that everything is fair game for comedy. However, if you're going to tackle sensitive subjects, then you need to ensure that the joke hits the mark. And on this occasion, I think Gass has missed the mark. Now, he has issued an apology of his own, accepting that he crossed the line. Now, it's hard to tell whether Mr. Gass's apology is from the heart, whether it is genuine or whether it's simply an attempt to save face, save the tour, and potentially even save his career. It could be argued, in fact, that Mr. Gass is in fact just another victim of media, social media, polarisation and brainwashing. Using Trump as a punchline, as a meme, and as the fall guy for jokes, for comedy, for any skit or improvised sketch has become so mainstream, so accepted, that it almost like he spouted this particular poorly timed joke in light of what had just happened, without really thinking about it, processing it, or understanding how people might react to it. But ultimately, only time will tell whether this is the end for Tenacious D. As I said at the start, I believe that Jack and Kyle have very similar political opinions. However, I wonder whether the spot that Kyle has put Jack Black into in this, and the financial repercussions from having to cancel the tour just in order to distance himself and save his own career, whether this is going to drive sort of an irredeemable wedge between the pair of them, which may ultimately lead to the end of Tenacious D, which would be a shame, I believe, because it is a type of music that, whilst I haven't been a fan since the very early days, it's a type of music that is enjoyed by many, and like I say, in some respects it is the antithesis of the stressed, highly divisive political climate that we find ourselves in. It's something that unites people, brings them together for just a good time with comedy and music. However, will the dynamic between the two ever be the same again? When we watch them on stage, will we still feel that there might be that resentment between them, which ultimately will detract from that sort of on-stage dynamic, that brotherly persona that they've always managed to portray, which has made them many fans over the years? Only time will tell.